Hey YouTube, what is up? So we've now lived in New York for 6 years.
Oh my god.
Is that how long? Holy
So
shit. And one thing that goes along with living in New York is encountering lots of famous people.
Celebrity sightings.
It's something that when you first moved here, it's kind of exciting. You're like, oh my god, that's like that B-list actor from that one TV show that I watched 7 years ago. But then as you spend more and more time here, you realize that so many famous people live in this city that you just see them all over the place.
And a lot of them are A-listers too.
I remember this was kind of a popular video tag about a year ago where it was like, rudest celebrities I've ever encountered. We're not that famous, so we don't actually encounter with them like on a real level. It's more like we see them, we're like, oh my god, look at that person. Oh my god, they're right there.
So throughout all the years that we've lived here, we've compiled a list of all the celebrities we've either spotted or interacted with.
So we wanted to share a few of these celebrity interactions with you guys. My first job in New York was working at a movie theater, and it was like an indie art house movie theater, so we got tons of famous people coming through just to see movies. We also hosted lots of premieres and events, so we had red carpets and, you know, the whole shebang. But a lot of times it was just on an off day, like on a Wednesday afternoon, you'd see, you know, like Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban stop by to see Beasts of the Southern Wild. I did actually see that. That's not my story. So I have so many celebrity sightings from that job. One of my favorites was when I met one of my favorite all-time actors, Paul Rudd. Who doesn't love Paul Rudd, honestly?
You can't not like Paul Rudd.
He's gorgeous and he's so funny and he just seems like a genuinely nice guy. And then I met him and he was a genuinely nice guy. So I was working in the box office and he came up to the window and I was kind of like in shock because he really is one of my favorites. I've loved him for so long. My favorite movie that he's in is the movie I Love You Man, and I saw that movie like 3 times in theaters. It was so good. I like really related to that character. So when he came up to the box office, I was like, oh my god. Actually, I wasn't like that. I played it really cool, because usually when I saw celebrities, I didn't acknowledge who they were, and I just kind of treated them like regular people. But I was like, I'm allowed to make an exception here. So after I gave him his ticket, I was like, by the way, I Love You Man is my favorite movie of all time. And he looked at me, and he was like, really? And I was like, okay, maybe it's not my favorite movie, but it's like, definitely my top 3. And he was like, really?
Like he didn't even think it was that good.
No, he didn't. He was like, what?
It's like fine.
And so I was like, okay, top 10. He's like, okay, I'll believe that. But I thought it was just so funny that he wasn't just like, oh, thank you, you know, I know it's like one of my great masterworks. He was just like,
yeah.
Come on, dude, be serious. Like, that's not your favorite movie of all time. But I think it probably is in my top 20
now
comedies, maybe. He was just a genuinely nice guy. He's as nice in person as he seems on screen. So that was a really lovely interaction.
So my first job in the city was working at a clothing store called Uniqlo. So I was there working my shift and I was on register. None other than Jesse Eisenberg come up with a hat. And it was like just a hat. I was looking at him and then I look around and like all of the other employees are like looking right at me and him interacting and I'm just like, I gotta take his hat, like don't acknowledge him at all. I'm just like nod, I'm like, have a good day. And he immediately puts it on like as a disguise and then leaves. I'm pretty sure that's like what was happening.
Oh, it was a disguise. Was he as awkward in real life as he is on camera?
He didn't say anything, so yeah, I would say so.
Isn't that so weird to think about being that famous? And he's not even that famous. And imagine just being at that level of fame and still not being able to go grocery shopping or clothes shopping without people pointing at you. Not the life that I would want to lead.
No. 2 beeps is enough for us.
Right. Another interaction I had with a celebrity at my movie theater job was none other than Miss Tyra Banks. I was actually working in the concession stand that night. It was super busy. We were like jam-packed. We must have just opened a really popular movie or something. We had lines of people like up and down the lobby. All of a sudden I'm like scooping some popcorn and my coworker nudges me just like, oh my god, dude, look who it is. And I like was looking around, there were so many people I couldn't spot. And he was like, it's Beyonce. And I was like, holy shit, Beyonce. Shouldn't there be like sirens going off or something? So I'm like looking around, I was like, where the hell is Beyonce? And then like literally right in front of me is this tall, gorgeous black model. And I'm just like, oh, that's not Beyonce. But it was Tyra Banks. So finally she decides to order a popcorn and I upsold her, which was like kind of like our duty, was trying to upsell the people to get like a bigger size than they asked for. So stupid.
Would you like a large for a quarter more?
Right, exactly. That's what I did. And I was like scooping it, getting it ready. And I was like, oh, would you like butter? And she's like, extra butter.
Tyra Banks, I love your brother.
Tyra Banks, I love you. She was really friendly and really sweet and just kind of like took too long, but otherwise I was really happy with that experience.
So I am definitely not the most observant person, and usually if I'm walking down the street and there's a celebrity coming the other way, like I wouldn't even notice or like bat an eye. But for some reason this one night, we were actually with like Vinny and Luke and some other YouTubers. We were walking down University Place going into the West Village. None other than Alec Baldwin is walking like the other direction from us. I see him and I'm like, oh, do I do anything? And this was around the time when he was like, I don't want any media attention whatsoever. And he was just like looking the other way, like not making eye contact and just like walking with such like motive and such like purpose. And then I immediately told everyone, I was like, I just saw him.
And I couldn't believe that no one else noticed him. He literally like parted us. He walked through our group, and no one else knew who it was except for you. Or like the
so
least
weird.
observant, like you never know who anyone famous is, and you spotted him. I thought that was really funny. Going off of that, I actually saw Alec Baldwin once in the same area. I was hanging out in Washington Square Park, and I think I was reading, it was a nice spring day, and all of a sudden I see this man kind of hunched behind his bench with this super long lens camera. Ridiculous, like an elephant's trunk. So I kind of like looked in the direction that he was pointing. I didn't really see anyone. This is weird, whatever. So anyway, I decided to leave and I like start walking through. I go through like the big archway at Washington Square Park, and then I look up the street and there are tons of photographers like hiding behind cars with like their cameras out. What the hell is going on? This is like the weirdest thing ever. And all of a sudden I see Alec Baldwin, and he's crossing the crosswalk in the middle of the street heading into the park. And who does he run into but Susan Sarandon? So Susan Sarandon's coming from one way, Alec Baldwin's coming from the other way. They both stop in the middle of a crosswalk and just like start chatting. And all these paparazzo are taking pictures of them from like far away. There's no way that this was just random. Like they had to have set this up. How would they have had all these cameras and all these people ready to take their picture, and they stopped in the most opportune space where you got like the big arch behind them. It was so picturesque. And they were just like so casual, like, oh, nice to see you. I think he was with his wife, who was pregnant at the time, and she was huge. She had like a big belly.
Wow, that's special.
It was a New York moment for sure.
Okay, so we were looking through the list, and John has, not kidding, like 75 celebrities on his list.
Way more than 75. Let's scroll through right now.
Oh my god.
Look at all these people.
Do you have stories about everyone?
Probably.
Oh my god.
We can make a part 2 if you want.
Write a book.
Except you have no stories.
I have no other story.
Like one more.
Well, I'm gonna tell my story next. And this one actually did not take place in New York. It took place in Los Angeles when we were there for VidCon, actually. So we were in West Hollywood. We were going to a brunch spot with our friends. We sit down at the brunch spot. John's looking at me from across the table, and he's like, don't like get too excited or look now, but like you're sitting right next to Jack Black. And I'm like, now, I am really not a starstruck person at all. I think there are maybe like a handful of people that I would actually be like super excited to see on this planet. And Jack Black is one of those people.
He's probably like at the top of your list, if not the top.
He's right near the top for sure. I was like obsessed with the band Tenacious D in high school. Kind of low-key still am. I just think he's hilarious. I love him as an actor. We're sitting down and he's right next to me, and I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, what do I do? Like, I don't want to be that guy who's like bothers him during his meal, and he knows that he's sitting next to a fan the whole time. So I'm sitting there and I'm just like super quiet.
You were being so awkward during that brunch. No. Usually you're like the life of the party.
Your friend asked me like more than twice, like, are you okay? And I was just like, I was planning in my head. I was like, how can I orchestrate this? What is my move? I can't let this slip through my fingers. Like, I would be so mad if he leaves and I leave and like I don't ever say anything to him. We paid the bill, and then our friend was like, what's going on? Because we were sitting there for like long after we had paid the bill. She was like just out of the loop. We didn't tell our friend. I kind of feel bad about that now. Finally, when they're paying their bill and getting ready to leave, I was like, all right, let's go. We stand up and like leave and just stake out the front door. And so then Jack Black comes out and I freeze. Don't say anything. I just like watch him go, and like, there he goes. But John like knew how excited I was to see him, so he went after Jack Black. And I go like in this little pipsqueak voice, like, excuse me, Mr. Black? And he turns around and he's definitely like acting the part. He's like, why? Like, what do you want? And I'm like, oh, like just, you know, like, can I get a picture with you? I wanted to tell him how much like I love Tenacious D and like I think he's hilarious. I don't manage to get any of that out. He's like, all right, come on, hurry up, let's go. So like I go and like get a picture with him.
It's a really cute picture. We can show it right here.
Yeah, we did get a good photo out of it. And then I think like your friend then asked to get a picture too. And he's like, oh, like anybody else you want to photo with? Like, I still don't know if he was actually upset or if he was just being Jack Black.
I'm sure it's the type of thing where he gets asked that a lot, so he kind of puts on this character because he doesn't want to be an asshole, but he also is like, I don't want to spend too much time in this situation.
So that was probably my favorite celebrity encounter I've ever had.
It was a good one.
Yeah.
So I have 32 more stories, but we probably shouldn't fit them into this video. But I think my all-time favorite celebrity interaction story, a time that Edward Norton came to see a movie. I don't get this as much now, I think especially because I grew my hair out, but when I used to have short hair, I would get told that I looked like Edward Norton all the time. I would expect it as I was walking down the street, like people would say it to me. Or if I ever met someone new, like that was just the thing. Like people would say, you look like Edward Norton. And like for a while, I think I did. Like there's that one picture that I used as my profile picture on Facebook where people literally thought it was me. They're like, when did you grow a goatee?
Yeah.
So I had this inside joke with all of my movie theater coworkers. If Edward Norton ever came in, I had to like try to see him or meet him or like try to get a picture because people needed evidence that I looked this much like him. So one day I had worked a shift and then I went to catch a movie afterwards. And as the movie was letting out, one of my coworkers came up and met me. He's like, dude, Edward Norton's here. I was like, you're kidding me, he's not. He's like, no, I'm serious. He's downstairs seeing a movie. Oh, really? This could be my opportunity. So I come downstairs and I walk to a table in the lobby and then I look over and I see this couple sitting at another table and one of them has like their camera kind of like hidden behind their hand. Looks like they're trying to take a picture of me. And then I notice there's a couple behind me whispering and like talking and like looking and pointing at me. And I'm like, holy shit. People have heard that Edward Norton is here, and they think that I'm him. This is so weird.
But are you like 20 years younger?
Right. They must have heard that Edward Norton was there, and then they saw me, and they were like, wow, that's what he looks like in real life?
Look different.
Right, exactly. Wow, the camera really adds 20 years. And then the movie comes out, there's this huge crowd of people that come up, and Edward Norton's in the middle of that crowd, and I like see him, and I spot him, and I'm like, I tried to kind of like follow him, but then this huge crowd gets in the way and I was not able to get a picture with him.
Oh no.
But I will say that that experience of having other people think I was Edward Norton totally made up for it. I guess I do look like him to some degree. I think those are a few of our favorite celebrity stories. We do have more stories though, so if y'all want to hear more celebrity stories of us in New York and beyond, let us know. We'll make a part 2.
That'll be a solo video, I think. Well, like the time Tom Daly and I got lunch and then we started making out and wait, that was a dream.
I've had that one too. Let us know if you guys have had any interactions with celebrities in the comments below. We'd love to hear your stories too. Were they as beautiful in person? Were they rude? Did they look just like you and did people mistake you for them?
Thank you so much for watching. We had a lot of fun recounting these stories. I can't believe how many people are on your list. Like that's crazy.
I really want to tell the Emma Watson story. We'll have to save that one for next time.
Like, comment, subscribe. I'm Beep.
I'm Beep.
We are T-Beeps.
Peacing out.
Beeps out. You've made it beyond the black screen at the end. So now we get to tell you about last week's video, which was
an Ask 2 Beeps video where we discuss growing up gay.
Click it right here.
It's right here.
Good info. Good stuff.
All of our videos are great though, right?
So good.
Let's be honest.
All of them.
You like this one, right?